We are back with authors. My audio is clipping or doing anything. It doesn't look like it. All right. Okay. So today we've been brought together to talk about episode 9, the ultimate Picard of what is season 2. Oh, look, it's Gematria database back. Right, just getting his phone sorted out, and we'll have him with us very shortly. Now, we left off. We left off with the Girardi character. She getting herself a new drone army from these. I guess I don't know. They look kind of like mercenary super soldier nutsacks, basically, and create a new old Borg collective with a 400-year start. And I guess what they from that point on was a ship, and to assimilate. Now leaves us with a question: what are we going to do with this crazy mess we started? Season 2. It looks like we just lost Gematria database. Hopefully we get it back. Is that what the stream looks like? Oh wow. It's kinda, oh, I see what happened. I guess I have a green screen key color key in there. And see wait. Oh, in it. And my mic should be back. There we go. Just had to reinitialize the thing there. Been doing a lot of hardware upgrades today, and I don't know if you can see over my shoulder there. That's kind of hidden in the darkness. But if we go get the go gadget, oh, got strobe light. Oh, there we go. I got a camera hanging dangling from the ceiling, and that'll be set up for the tech show that I will be restarting very shortly in the next couple of weeks. I plan to probably live stream a tech show, maybe even this weekend, but I'll be putting together an actual recorded series of projects that I'm working on right now, and also some that I have lined up, and some old stuff that I put on the shelf for season 1 of the tech show that never happened. It started and then never transpired into anything. But hey, transpiration takes perspiration, right? So let's get ourselves comfortable because, yeah. What was that Negan line? You might want to put on your shitting pants. But looks like we have a Gematria database back in the house. Let's see if did my... Hey, wait a minute here. I forgot something.
All right.
Hey.
That is not what I wanted.
Hang on a second there, buddy. Yeah, because you left and came back. I have to...
I didn't mean to.
No, I just got to redo these connections.
It just died on me.
Right. I'm gonna take this, pop that into there. leg bone's connected to the hip bone, and that should go to conf in. Yes. I think I can hear you. Do I hear you? I do think I hear you. OBS guest is going to the right place. Say stuff.
Testing 1, testing 2, testing 1, testing 2.
Oh, you're clipping hard. Hang on. Let me just turn that down a touch. All right. Oh, don't try not to do that. Headphone wearer warning. Anybody wearing headphones and watching this podcast just got blasted eardrums. All right.
Sorry.
Oh, whoa, hang on. Yeah, that's clipping hardcore. Hang on a second here. What's the volume at now? Yeah, that was a crazy peak. Say stuff. Check 1 2.
Testing 1, testing 2. This is check. 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 Mic check.
It's better. Just gonna lower it just a touch, just a smidge. All right.
Hello there, Governor.
All right. I think we. Oh, wait a minute here, Chromium. Yeah, that's right. Sorry for the delay, people. Just getting ourselves unpooched here. Yeah, we're good to go. It's just so people can visualize what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of mapping through the spaghetti code here. That's what I call it, spaghetti code. Oh, wait. To conf Chromium input. Yep, that's right. Good stuff. We are winning. And how are we doing for our stream? Is looking fair, it says. Stream connection is fair. It's better than shit. And we're doing 60 frames a second, no drop frames. I think we're cooking with gas finally. Anywho, so I was just saying, I was just basically kind of waffling there, just to what do they call that? Spitballing? No, what do they call that? There's a name for it, and I can't think of it. Oh well, too bad, so sad. Brain broken. This is what happens at the age of 40, whatever I am. You can't count, but I'm just beside myself. I called this Picard season episode 9 because of the overt Nazism. No, again, I think I always kind of associate the Borg with like a kind of a metaphor. They kind of come across as like that Nazi kind of fascist kind of systematic, the whole worker drone kind of mentality. And yep, the Borg were fully featured. Well, pre-Borg, I don't know. Prepubescent Borg, I don't know how
they look like mercenaries or something.
Yeah, they're like mercenary nutsacks. They're just a bunch of jarheads. And then there's one. Did you see the one shot? It was on a closing shot. It was like just as they're cutting to a commercial break, and it was like all these friggin' bald-headed, like like early 20 something nutsacks all built. Then there's this one bloke with a fucking beard. He looked like he looked like I don't know, ZZ Top. Like he just had this beard. I'm like, what? I never saw a Borg with a beard before. Anyway, it was pretty.
Well, yeah, they were not fully Borged out. They were just kind of mind controlled people.
Yeah, I noticed their sinus cavities were kind of glowing from the inside because of the nanites. That's a new thing too, apparently. But I was entertained by this episode. I was entertained, but for all the wrong reasons, not for anything that gives any merit to the writing. And I think it was probably one of the worst ones for like whoever the director of photography was for this episode. Did a bad job. The art direction was shit. And I mean, just really bad choices were made for like the visuals. I thought like they could have been done so much better, especially if they stuck to the rule book, like for like Star Trek shooting. Like they could even learn a lesson from the Orville, because all they did was literally, they even actually got the director of photography from Star Trek Next Generation to work on the Orville. You know that? They got like, they,
No, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, they literally got a lot of the staff that did all these uh, I don't know, what can you call it, supportive kind of roles in the different departments. They came and worked on the Orville, and it shows. I mean, they literally didn't have to do anything new to make that show work, and it worked so well that people were watching the Orville over actual Star Trek Discovery because it was more Star Trek than Discovery was at the time. So I mean, you know,
Exactly. And we were just waiting for the next.
I don't know if there's going to be a next. You know that
I
because
don't know if there is either.
I don't know if there was some backroom meeting, and Seth MacFarlane was just basically told to like cease and desist. We get the point. We get the point. Shut the fuck up. Stop. That's what I got from it. I don't know. Just I don't know. Like usually they're forthcoming with information about when they're going to do something, how they're going to do something. When they don't know something will happen, they usually say it's not happening. But when you don't hear anything, usually that just means like there's been a gag order, you know,
Something, yeah,
something
exactly.
going on in Berlin there. But so let me ask you. You just came off of it fresh. I watched it yesterday, and it's like a day old stale turd. Like,
No, I kind of watched it yesterday in the middle. Well, I watched it before I fell asleep.
mm,
So that fresh.
right. So it's a day old turd for you too. What did you think overall of the episode?
Well, I didn't dislike it. Um, I had some problems with it, like some problems with it, like perspective wise, like as a viewer and somebody that like really likes Star Trek: The Next Generation, and to an extent Voyager. Um, there's like tie-ins to both of those things. It's like they tried to skip the whole Deep Space Nine thing, and then so there's all these tropes that are showing up that are from other things,
Mm,
and we kind of like went in, and I don't know if they're like like I said Easter egging it or they're fanfaring, which is similar.
it's almost one and the same with this show. It's like it's almost like the show doesn't know the difference. Like I don't know. Okay,
Well,
yeah,
it's like when I first saw the first season or whatever, and they were like really focused on data. I felt like that was they were doing Easter eggs. But once they like started doing these like tropey things that reminded us of other other seasons, no, other episodes from like Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and
yeah.
to an extent, the was it? I'm sorry, not Deep Space Nine. Fucking um, Next Generation, and Voyager. It's like there's a little bit of Deep Space Nine in there, but they that not enough to like formulate like okay, this is the episode that I'm remembering. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about Cisco and everything like that. There was a little bit of like drawing from that element,
Mm.
but they didn't use it. So
Yeah. I mean, you know,
it's like the idea of like they show a gun, they show an arrow, they show a knife, they have to use it.
yeah.
It's like why did they show us this and not use it? That's where I'm kind of at.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning towards the suggestion you made that they might be looking at doing the whole cliffhanger thing. And maybe those are seeds that they've planted for season 3, which we know they've green lighted. Um,
I think that's where you're going with this. Yes, I mean
yeah.
where they're going with this.
I just hope
I
that
agree
they're
with you.
intelligent enough to do it with some kind of I don't know, some kind of intelligent discourse. It seems like there's too much to unpack in a final episode 10. Like it just seems
Yeah,
like
they like set up a bunch of things that they can't finish out in
yeah,
one episode.
Now they've done this before, even on TNG and on others, on like DS9 and on Enterprise is also bad for this, where they do have these massively complex arcs, and then they wrap it up like with a bit of techno babble and reverse time, and then Q snaps his fingers and everything's back to normal again. So I don't know. I'm not putting it past them. We'll have to wait and see, obviously.
Well, Q has to get his abilities again, so that's another thing. And
Yeah, but once he has
you
his
said
powers,
offline that you think that what you call it, Guinan's all about that. She's gonna
yeah.
help him get his powers back, and
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be the genetic guy that's Noonien Soon's like ancestor or somehow,
Yeah, I think personally, I think the
or maybe
whole,
cousin. I don't know.
I think what they're gonna try and do, and we talked about this too, is that I personally think what they're doing is they're finding a way to retcon all of the Paramount owned IP, like all the intellectual property related to Star Trek. I think they're gonna retcon all of it, and this is their clever way of doing it. I mean, they tried to write their way out of it in just Discovery, and a lot of people, even like myself, didn't even watch season 3 because we were that disgusted with season 2. I will give Strange New Worlds a shot when it comes out. I'm interested. I'm intrigued to find out what they're going to do with that. That's kind of I don't know. They've gone and really like in a whole lot of different ways. Like even back when they did Enterprise, when they did that stupid song for the intro, like the feel of Star Trek is a certain feel. Like there's, like you get feels like when you hear the original series, like music start, like there's a certain feel, like there's a presence, and it's a long road, getting from there to here.
Here.
Fuck off.
Oh shit.
It suddenly takes me right out of the Star Trek mood, So,
Yeah, it made me feel like, and then they're like showing all this NASA stuff.
well, what they did is they showed a progression. They showed like a fictional like schooner. It looked like an old schooner vessel, like that was named HMS Enterprise. And then I don't know what that clicking is. Oh, that's you. Okay. Anyway, I wasn't sure.
Just moving back and forth. Sorry.
Your ADD is making noise, buddy. But yeah, they were they went through the HMS Enterprise, and then they showed the space shuttle. Then they showed a CG space shuttle that looked newer and had like 2 pylons on it that to represent nacelles. And then they had a warp vessel, the one that they showed in First Contact, the movie. And then then they see Archer's ship, and it's all, well, yeah, that progression. I got the idea what they're trying to do with it, and it was a good try, at least. It was a nice spin. But I mean, that fucking song.
I think it killed it right there, because I mean,
It killed
even
the
like
mood.
when we had our parties, like where we'd watch it all together with other Trekkie people, it's like we
Everyone
like
just
didn't
cringes
want
in
to watch that
synchronicity.
part. Like we wanted to like forward through it and stuff, and I don't think we had the ability to do that back then.
I think the closest thing we had then was TiVo, and I think TiVo, you had like the 10-second, you can jump forward 10 seconds and jump. It's like jump, jump, jump. Ah, shit! I'm 10 seconds into the into the show now, and then you have to jump back again. But friggin'
Right.
good old technology, eh? But yeah, man, we were brought to this point in episode 9. It's kind of like where you're committed. It's like, oh crap, I stepped in it now. Now I gotta, now I gotta follow.
I gotta
through.
wash it.
Yeah,
I gotta follow through and
yeah, and then wash my shoes.
wash my shoe. Yeah, wash my shoe, and like continue.
I don't even know where to start with this
Like
one.
a wet shoe.
I guess you know what? I'll talk about the part that actually offends me the least. First off,
Okay.
and I've been back and forth on the whole topic of Rios. I mean, I've always enjoyed that chemistry between him and the Doctor. And I presented the question last time. I said, I don't know what they're going to do, because like, how are they going to wrap this up? But somehow off camera between that episode and episode 9, suddenly the doctor has a sudden rationality of the protocols of the prime directive. Suddenly it's like, well, I can't come with you, and like she was talking more sense than Rios was for some reason, like all of a sudden, I don't know. And then, but at the same time, she's like, "Oh, but maybe you're supposed to stay." Like she was very conflicted.
I know. Yeah, she was like, maybe this is your timeline. You always were supposed to be here, kind of thing.
How do you
Which is
know?
kind of
Yeah.
like a
How do you know?
trope from another thing. Like that's definitely some sort of like, because like okay, that's like episode three. I mean episode. That's like movie three of Back to the Future because they go all the
Rios
way back.
last
And
essays in
when
space.
it turns out that he was always supposed to be back then.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Doc Brown, not Marty.
Right. Right. You know.
And then he
And
was involved in building the clock, which ended up being the clock that they ended up using. So it's like this weird, crazy.
yeah.
It's this weird like looping thing.
Well, as
Like
entertaining as entertaining.
Ouroboros. I bet it's an Ouroboros. It's just we haven't looked into it that deeply.
Oh, an Ouroboros. Now you're getting all technical and fancy. Um, I'll tell you this right now, though. Like, I mean, as entertaining as most of them are, time travel and Star Trek are very, very, very like horrible. Like, even like they'll mix and match like different theories of time travel into the same plot and use them indistinguishably from each other. Like, it'll be like parallel universes 1 minute and branching timelines in another, and then still have a linear timeline though, where when you go to the back, you know what I mean? It has some sense of changing in a linear fashion. So I don't know. I won't even speak to the technicalities of their errors because usually they can cover it up with a half decent story. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what kind of counts. That's why we're invested in this, right? But
Yeah.
the whole Rios thing, man. The more I think about it, the more I want to watch that show. Rios lost essays in space.
Snap.
I kind
No,
of
now he lost his ship, so it's like now he has to get his ship back from the Queen, and it's like he basically
yeah.
made a deal with her. So it's like I don't understand how that
Well,
factors in. And what is she doing with the ship? Is she going to find herself, like I originally plotted
well,
out?
he didn't really make the deal. It was Girardi that made the deal. It wasn't even her damn ship. But because
I know that's exactly,
yeah,
and she made the deal with the Queen before, like in order to save whatever, which again, like I told you this offline, the Queen is playing the long game with Girardi, and she's allowing her to have certain amount of control in order to make her think she has that control where she really doesn't.
right. I found out where you're clipping. I just got it. Ooh, there. I was just
Okay.
watching all the meters. All the
So
meters.
basically, after she convinces, she basically set it up to where obviously like she's controlling these other Borg, right? She basically through one of the Borg shot 709, which caused or stabbed. Wait, what happened to? I remember she was shot, right? She had something in her stomach. I'm like, was she stabbed or shot?
I
Anyway,
can't remember. I think she
whatever
was
happened
shot.
to her,
I think
it
she
was
was
from the
shot.
Borg situation, and and because of that, it caused her to revert back into Borg in order to save her or whatever, because I guess nanites or nanotechnology in this universe,
Mm-hmm.
even though it takes over, it also saves you. That's a new thing I didn't know.
Yeah, it can save
Like,
you. Yeah, because it can do all that work. Yet the nanites needed endorphins a few episodes ago in order to do. Fuck off! It's just so bad.
yeah, exactly. It is endorphins. So where's the endorphins in this
Like,
situation? She just like shoots them in. I mean, it's like okay. So then you're just it was a let's just be like honest about it. This was a retcon in order for what's her face 7 of 9 to go back to 7 of 9, and they were
okay,
edging
yeah,
into that with the whole you're with Raffi telling her, even if you don't have your symbiotes, you are still the same person. So
You know
what
what
would
came
you
to
do
mind?
if you were the queen, if you were attached,
You know what
whatever,
came?
right?
You know what famous scene in Hollywood that came to my mind when Seven of Nine turned around and then suddenly her Borg implants were back. And by the way, even though it's a completely separate, isolated situation, the exact same Borg implants that she had as a drone were back again. like I was
Exactly, same places,
in the
like on
same
her
places.
fingers.
Yep, yep. It's like, well, why make new Borg makeup for her face when we've already got?
We
It was
already
so
got it.
bad.
Yeah,
But the scene
just
that came to my mind
bring it
was
out and like dust it off.
it was like the Twilight Zone. It was the scene. Hey, you want to see something really scary? And it turns around. That's the scene that came to my mind when she turned around and she had the Borg implants. It was the same kind of I don't know. I was like,
I know what you're
wow.
talking about from Twilight Zone. Yeah,
Yeah, the
but the
movie Twilight Zone. It was
yeah, the Twilight Zone movie.
yeah, the movie. That's right. Yeah, the
Yeah,
very opening sequence with what's his
yeah,
nuts there, the Ghostbuster guy with the vodka.
right, right. So then where was it? Where was I?
Yeah,
So the
so
whole thing with, huh?
yes. I was just gonna basically reiterate what you had said there is that
Okay.
after the climactic battle sequence, which we'll get into, we'll have to rip that one apart. But yeah, Seven gets injured. She gets shot or stabbed, whatever, but she's bleeding out of her stomach and writhing in pain while Girardi and Borg Queen have this like conversation inside Girardi's head. And like, I wonder what that must have looked like. I mean, there's Seven lying,
I
writhing on
know
the
she's just
ground,
standing there
bleeding, and she's
basically
just
like
standing there talking to herself. Like, that must have that would have been. I would have just been like, "Fuck! I'd hurry up and die." God damn it! It was just,
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she like decides, okay, well I'll let her live.
and
But like I said, I think that was just her convincing Girardi that she has that control in order to so then she basically, it was like, it's like a chess game. She set that up ahead of time. She knew that she was going to shoot that
yeah. But
person or stab her or whatever it was. And
we're glossing over the main point of that conversation that she had with herself, though, and it was that Girardi strikes up a deal with the Borg Queen and says, "How about try a universe where the Borg help everybody instead of assimilate everybody, instead of creating death and destruction?"
no, it's more like they gave him a choice. That's what she references that. How about we give him a choice to assimilate?
No, it wasn't a choice. It was about building. It was about building, about helping. It was just, it was like a build. You know what? It was like a build back better. Fucking like it was kind of like that whole.
Basically, yeah,
Yeah, I was kind
that
of,
kind of idea.
I was a little bit spooked by it actually. I was like, that's kind of
I know.
horrible.
I was like, this is weird. I don't understand what she's like. I don't know how can she like make the Borg, and especially back then in that time frame. Isn't that going to create a new reality? That's where I was going with that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we were saying off camera as well. Is that the whole idea that they have a 400-year head start, and instead of assimilating races, instead they're going to be they're I can hear what's going on here. Anyway, yeah, instead of assimilating everybody, they're gonna build, back better, solar systems and civilizations, and help the civilizations. In my mind,
But see, how could they do that without a simulation? Is my point. It's like they'd have to have people helping them without assimilating, or do they actually assimilate? It's like a choice. Like they're like, oh, I'm going to help you. Okay, well then we're going to assimilate.
I think what's being implied is that just be a regular freaking thing. Be a regular life form. Stop being so
Like
stupid. Like stop being such a Borg. Stop
my
being
question
Borg.
is, where did she go at the end? Like when she took the ship, where is she going?
Yeah, I don't know what her plans were. It's like, what are you gonna do now? You know, I don't know. I don't know. It was handled really, really poorly. Okay,
She left with the mercenary she had, and now all of a sudden she's gonna like she just killed a bunch of people. and all of those people that she like simulated, also a lot of them are dead. You know
A
what I
lot of them are
mean?
dead.
And,
Picard
and,
killed like
and
4 of them with a Luger, which we'll talk about.
okay.
Yeah, no, the Luger was funny. Okay, I'm just gonna get right into it. I gotta rip this Band-Aid off. Okay,
Okay.
so he said, okay, the year's 2024, right? We're gonna do a
Yeah.
little bit of math here. He said that during the Second World War, the French had the vineyard and his house and made all those tunnels in the underground. You know, during during the German occupation, and then
During the Nazi takeover or
during the
something like
Nazi
that.
takeover and all that. Okay, again, the year's 2024. Do you not think that a vacant house of that nature wouldn't be squatted, used as a sewer? Like, don't
Hold
you
on a
think?
second. Shit.
Like, yeah, I heard myself looping back. Nope, I don't have you anymore. I don't have your audio. Lost your mic. No, you're muted. There, it shows that you're muted. Unmute. There you go. I got you back. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you back there. Yeah, you
Bring,
there?
bring who in?
Are you there? Oh,
Uh,
he's talking to
the
somebody.
table. The tables. Take the tables from the outside, bring them back in, and have Ronnie help me.
There we go. I just muted him. He's talking to his coworkers. So, all right. So anyway, so this is the point that I'm going to make about this situation here is that he made that big long story. So, from the Second
Is he
World
done
War.
doing the kitchen?
Why am I still hearing him? Isn't he muted?
Well then, okay. Well, whatever. I'll after he's done with the kitchen, I'll have him do that,
Wow,
or
that's a
help me do
force of
that.
nature. Now he's muted. Weird. All right. Anyway, like I was saying, the whole thing, the whole premise that you know that the French were there and all that, and that the house was untouched for all those years up to 2024.
All right. Sorry about that.
No worries. I was just saying that I think that house would have been squatted in. It would have been used as a latrine. It would have been just completely destroyed. Like if it was not, if it was vacant in the year, by the year 2024, somebody would have used that house. Would have they would have gutted it for all the copper it had. It would have been completely destroyed and devastated. There's no way in my mind I can imagine it being serviceable in 2024 if it were vacant and not upkept.
Right.
And second to that, I don't think that in the tunnel system, you just have some leftover German weaponry and armaments. Like a single Luger with some weapons. Like he pulls a gun out of a box, basically cocks it. He didn't even like have to like load a cartridge or anything. Like no, he literally just cocked it and started shooting that Borg.
I know it was crazy. Hold on, I'm gonna mute out and keep talking.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so that's one gripe. I got a lot of griping. I'm sorry. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's just because there's really bad TV out there. But now this is all very crazy. Like a lot happened in one episode, but really nothing actually happened, minus the battle sequence, which was horrible. A lot of missed opportunities. I think whoever was in charge of like the director of photography or whoever is in charge of the sets, the set design, something was wrong. It was really, really, really bad. Like the shots were very, very textbook, very plain, and not very dramatic for how dangerous it was supposed to be. And then, of course, there was a couple other sequences that were just not befitting to Star Trek, in my opinion, anyway. For instance, they get into a fight with the Borg, and you know, on one hand, it was a little more realistic than they usually go because usually one chick like half the size of a dude, you know, can lay the boots to a dude, and you know, twice her size without any repercussions. And this time, you know, the two chicks were basically, you know, it was Raffi and Seven, Roger I call her, but you know, Raffi and Seven are basically fighting this dude, and I thought that was pretty fair. But then they go dark. They go down a dark path where like they're struggling with the knife, and then you know, Seven basically
One
has to
helps
push.
the other.
Yeah, and it was kind of like that, you know, Saving Private Ryan scene, you know, where Buddy's like, you know, just pushing the knife slowly into his chest, kind of deal, and
Yeah,
and they did that. That's kind of what they did here.
intense. They were going for intensity.
They were going for that intensity, that grittiness, right? It's like no, not Star Trek, you know, like even when Kirk's son got killed in the third movie, Search for Spock, even that was handled at kind of comic bookish. It happened. It was still dark, and yet it you know it wasn't handled lightly, but it also wasn't like grisly. You know, you didn't hear the squishing sounds, you know, like bone like being cut, you know, being cut with a knife kind of deal. It was just I don't know. I think it was almost in bad taste, to be honest. You know.
I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Yeah, for sure. I can do that. So anyway, that being said, that whole sequence, it was kind of lame. Picard, not an action guy, obviously because of his age. You know, it's you have to kind of rely on the other characters to fill in the gaps. But with the exception of Seven, and I guess maybe Rios, I don't buy that. Like Raffi's pulling out all these kung fu moves and shit. Just wasn't sold on it. Like I don't know. I guess maybe she's got some bar fighting techniques because she's quite the, you know, quite the venue partaker. But I don't know, man. It was just handled really sloppily, really badly, and the dramatics, like it just wasn't. It wasn't there in classic kind of Star Trek fashion that we're used to, and I'm sticking to my story. But I will say this is that during the Girardi and Queen, the Borg Queen scene, when they're having their little conversation and debate, came up to the Queen discovers that she's been locked out of the Rio ship, which was I remembered and then I forgot the name of that ship, Las Esperanza. I can't remember it now.
Esperanza? I don't know.
I'm making words up, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
But,
I'm just adding to it.
But we'll figure it out. Anyway, yeah, it was kind of funny because you know, Borg Queen's like, I've been locked out, and she, yeah, you've been locked out. Did you notice that? And then you know, Girardi's being all kind of, you know, being her. I kind of like Girardi's character actually. The more screen time she gets, the more I like her. I wish they gave her more. And I don't know. This is probably I checked, by the way. I did check online. This is the sexiest she's ever looked. Like in a show or
In a Borg, as a Borg.
No. I mean, like with her in the red dress, like that whole bit.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you know,
red dress.
And her Borg uniform has some cleavage, boy. Let me tell you. But
It does.
I'm just saying, you know, I notice these things. So anyway, yeah, I was beside myself. And I was like, wow, they're really doing this whole thing, right? Okay, like, kind of took me back to Seinfeld when he's playing chess with his penis. It was kind of like that. Remember that scene in Seinfeld where he's like playing chess with his penis and his penis got a bald cap on. It was kind of funny. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. The whole thing was kind of crazy. But then, yeah, of course, Girardi's like, oh, you think I'm stupid enough to tell myself the password? I encrypted it and I put it in him. And it's basically the emergency hologram was altered to be, guess who? Elrond! Or no, Elnor.
Elnor.
Elrond. Friggin' Elnor. They gave him something to do. And guess what? He got to killing. He swiftly got to killing and not getting killed. Like that was his thing. And like I said, they kept him on ice until they had a use for him. And when they wanted things dead,
until it was time.
yeah, they made the emergency homicidal hologram.
And of course they had to do, you know, Raffi
Oh yeah,
facing Elnor.
you're the best
death,
stepmom I've ever had.
A, you know, fake version, I guess, like that somehow remembers information about the real version, and transferring that information to Raffi. And Raffi is just like, I know you're not like the real one, but I just want to say this anyway, kind of thing. And,
yeah. And then they should
weird.
have left it there. They should have left it there, but then they go a step further and freaking Elnor says, he goes, well, I have every one of his last thoughts up to the point where he died, and you know, he feels the same about you. And it's like, you know, the writers obviously don't know the slightest thing about what they're writing about. Like, they didn't do any research. They didn't fucking watch any of the old Trek. Like, none of it. I swear. Like, it's like, oh, this is the thing. This is the thing. Okay, well, they just start writing, and it's just like willy-nilly. And we're going to get to the main.
Well, it's like, okay, let's get down to it, right? I mean, in reality, that Elnor was artificial intelligence in the form of a hologram, playing the role of Elnor.
Right. Which, you know, as we know, with the, you know, the emergency holographic doctor, the holographic emergency captain, the holographic emergency clam shutter.
Oh, you haven't even seen, you know, Prodigy, which shows a holographic Janeway.
Yeah. See, even Janeway is a hologram now. But I mean, they even have like, I mean, I don't know if we said this on the podcast or not, but I was actually, I kind of dug the idea of, like, you know, a useless captain who decided to fill all the roles on a ship with a hologram. Like, the original role for Rios, I thought was intelligent. I thought that was a kind of a fun spin on the whole emergency hologram.
I thought they were doing kind of a Doctor Who thing or something along those lines, like because it was like. Or like
more like Red Dwarf,
Firefly, Cowboy Bebop, you know, like ragtag team coming together and getting on a ship randomly, and then all of a sudden going out and doing stuff together because of whatever it is their mission is or whatever.
Yeah, and, you know, everything. You know, I don't get that feel when I watch.
And I thought that's what it was in the first season. Yeah, that was basically it. You know, but with the whole spin of like, oh, Data's daughter, that's not her daughter, it's like creation.
Yeah.
You know,
and then
there's two of them. You know, it's like,
and then the super what was it called? The super secret friggin' Romulan feminist ninja group that hate synthetic.
Yeah. And somehow they're like helping Borg like come out of like being Borg.
Oh man, that was so convoluted and so full of itself. It was not even funny. You know, when I see the intro, I was looking at the intro again for this season of Picard, which was a lot like the first season.
You never watched Mr. Mercedes, right?
No, I don't even know.
Just to go off the rails for a second.
Yeah. Oh, let me finish. Let me finish what I was saying first.
All right. We'll continue the off the rails after your thing.
Yeah. We'll go off the. Yeah. Stop clicking. When you move, you click.
I think it's my headphones.
It probably is. It might be the mic swinging and hitting your shirt or something.
It may be hitting against this thing. Yeah.
So no. When I watched the intro, and they finish off the intro with like a close up of Picard's face. He just looks like a lost old man. Like, you know, like the Picard I know would like stand up straight and like, you know, he always like pulls his tunic down, like, you know, with a straight back. This guy just looks like a fucking vagrant, just like Just, he's got no. There's no stoicism there. There's no. It's just really bad. I I don't know who I am. I can't get
You
that
love
line
that
out.
line.
I can't get it out of my head. I just laugh every time I see it. As you can see
Is there
here,
a meme? There's probably a meme.
if not, I'm
Like,
making it. If not, it's getting made. Make it so.
you can turn it into, you can find the actual part where he says that,
Number one,
and
I've got number two of my pants.
and grab it as a gift.
Yeah, jeez, I don't know. It's a bit of a hot mess. But yeah, no. Go ahead, go off the rails there with what you're saying. I'm done about. I just get that look of that lost old man. It's burned into my retina.
I forget what it was now.
You'll remember as soon as I get onto another point. You'll remember.
You know it, yeah. That's how it works.
But so we're kind of circling the dead body of this we're like a CSI scene here. We're kind of circling the dead body of this
I
episode.
remember what it is now.
Okay, there you go.
Mr. Mercedes. The reason why I bring that up is because it was a weird show, but the one of the main characters, the assailant Romulan, that was doing the espionage stuff with his sister in the first season.
Okay.
And what Mr. Mercedes is weird. I mean, you should see this just for prosperity purposes. But it basically takes all those trophy things that we got from.
Wasn't that the same actor that played in as what's his nuts? The guy from what the hell was that?
I know it is who you're thinking of.
Okay.
From Harry Potter. I mean, not Harry Potter. Yeah, Harry Potter.
No, Game of Thrones. Sorry, Game of Thrones, wasn't it?
Who was he in Game of Thrones? Maybe he was in both.
Yeah.
Because he's been in a lot of things, but usually that weird curmudgeon guy. In Harry Potter, he was the guy with the eye.
I've only seen like one or two of the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, he played like one of the teachers or whatever but he had like this weird like eye thing that like moved around. Came off. It was fucking weird. It was like it was like one of those like an eye patch type of thing, but instead of a patch, it was an actual eye, like with a thing coming out, like holding his eye, and he would like look around with it. It's fucking strange. Anyway, that person, I'm not sure if he was in Game of Thrones, probably, but you're talking about the main character who plays like the former cop or whatever, is like investigator, private investigator.
Oh no! I was from season one. I'm thinking of one of the Romulans. That one Romulan, the brother. Remember, there's a brother and sister.
Yeah, he was in Game of Thrones. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
remember.
who I was thinking of.
Who did he play in Game of Thrones?
I don't know. The guy who got his wiener cut off there by that sick prick.
Oh no, that's not the same guy.
No? Okay.
No, you guys have to like compare names, but no, I don't.
I have to go check it out now. Maybe I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's possible. It's very.
Well, anyway, the same guy that played the Romulan also played the Mr. Mercedes in Mr. Mercedes, and what Mr. Mercedes was about was a focus on a story like almost like those kind that we've come across in the truth sphere trope world of the cars that hit people. So like say, like in real life there was that supposed situation where Heather Heyer gets hit by a car during a protest against white supremacy.
That's a very specific situation.
No, I'm telling you, this really happened.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm telling you, in the show, that happens, but it's all these people that are like protesting because they're not being fed, and
so it's not a hunger strike.
Like in front of like a building or something, and they're standing in line, and during that someone puts on a clown face thing and then goes and runs them all down, or a lot of them.
It's not very nice.
It's very disturbing to see. And then it's all about that
It's another
happening,
reason
and
to
then
hate
people that
clowns.
are involved, and then that dude he's like a hacker. Aside from his actual job, he does this like underground like hacking thing, like where he hacks into the inspectors, the person who's trying to figure out who he is, or who did it, right? The case follower, if you will. His computer gets hacked, and then all of a sudden like something like shows on the screen. It's like a meme kind of thing, but also showing the stuff that's like disturbing, and then it has this like weird broken face, like smiley face with like a with like blood, and and um and it continues, and you get into the psyche of these people, and but the reason I brought it up is because when I saw it, it reminded me of that, like those stories that you actually get from the news about people ramming into people for
Mm-hmm.
whatever purposes, whatever reasons like they have in their mind at the time that they do it,
Right.
and how many. In this story, it's like he took out a lot of people. Like in real life, there's only one person got hit,
Right.
you
Right.
know, or two people or whatever. You know,
That
it's like
right.
not a huge amount. Like
That usually
maybe
happens. That usually happens when they want to apply a message and accentuate the message more than the facts of real life.
it's like the real life version of, you know, what happened in Family Guy when, or what, yeah, Family Guy, when he ends up doing that scene where he's uh running down the people that are on the marathon.
No, I got nothing. I can't. I don't
You
remember that.
never seen that? Oh well, that one ended up coming up because it was referenced of the marathon bombing
Oh,
as
okay.
a
I got you.
yeah, and so that became like a big thing, and then you know like like what do you call it, like predictive programming, because
Mm-hmm.
it was put out before the bombing happened, and they were referencing, you know, the people that were on the jogging,
Right.
because what happens in Family Guy is he actually like runs them down instead of
Right.
running on the
So
race.
bring it back. Bring it back. What's this in relation
So
to
it's the
the
same
episode?
person that was in that was the killer in this story, is the Romulan that was in the first one, and I was just putting that together for you.
Oh, I see.
And if you ever see Mr. Mercedes, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, if I stop watching these freaking horrible shows, maybe I could find some half decent ones to watch. But okay, so yeah, all right. So that whole arrangement with Rios' ship, as we discussed, was basically, that deal was made between Girardi and the Borg. Right now, the Borg, like you said, might be playing the long game. Might be like letting, giving Girardi some length on the leash and letting her think that she's got, a little bit more power and control than she does. Um, and now she got Rios' ship, and 709's got her Borg implants back, and what
So does
else?
that mean, wait, does that mean that 709 is now connected to the Borg Queen?
I guess so. I suppose so. I
So then
mean,
she's gonna be able to know what she's, you know,
I,
doing.
I don't know. Is she going to go to, what is that, Matrix Adjunct 000 or 001, whatever it was called? Remember the little virtual reality space that all the Borg hang out in? It was
Maybe,
it was
maybe
it was
that's
in
where their
Voyager. They
consciousness is.
they showed us that in
It's their
Voyager.
consciousness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was called Matrix 001 or something. I can't remember exactly. Oh, no, no, no. I can't remember the name of it. That's not surprising. But anyway, the whole thing is like
Make it up
kind
as you
of kind
go.
of convoluted. It doesn't look like they did the research, but what it does look like is now the Borg have a 400-year head start, and instead of assimilating everybody, supposedly, allegedly, they're going to be cooperative and help the universe out, which will change a lot of things. And I'm thinking, and I think you're thinking this too, and we talked about this, and it's that I personally believe that this is their CBS way of retconning the Paramount property that that they can't use. So instead of getting yelled at for not including this, for not doing that, for not writing this, for not writing that, they're going to be like, okay, well, we'll just retcon it all so none of it happened. Because remember, we're still in the Kelvin timeline, as we finally figured out. And then yeah, so they're definitely still operating with the Bad Robot you know, timeline, the whole Kelvin timeline that was done by Bad Robot and J.J. Abrams there. So if that's the case, this is an easy way to write out all of the stuff that they did under Paramount and keep everything that they do have access to. So that's what I think they're doing, and they got far too many loose ends right now to 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 fix up. I mean, to tie up in one episode. I don't see them doing it all in one episode because we still got Q.
Mhm.
Q's still sick and dying. I still believe that we got a Borg issue to deal with. They teased us with the whole Locutus thing, and it brings us to predictions. What's your prediction for episode 10? What do you think? What do you think they're gonna
Yeah,
do?
well, I think there is going to be a Locutus ending, like some sort of, what's that called, cliffhanger.
Yeah,
That it's probably going to be like the Queen is going to double cross Girardi, which is what I'm already kind of saying with the long game thing.
right.
But she's gonna do things to a point to, like, to gain that trust, and then once she gets the trust, that's when she's gonna strike and take what do you call it, Picard, and turn him into. I think that showing that she can turn Seven of Nine back into Seven of Nine that we know, that was showing us that she's going to do it to Picard, and he's going to become Locutus.
Maybe. You might be onto
It
something
was a
there.
foreshadow. In my opinion, it's a foreshadowing.
So it wasn't just that the art department was cheap and didn't want to make a new
No, there was probably some
new
thought to it associated
headgear.
with, like, the next progression.
They might have actually had a more creative approach to it, and just it might just not have materialized, you know, because sometimes studios will cut corners if they're if they're short on time, if they're short on money, if they're short on staff, you know, that kind of shit. So I could see them having a lofty idea and then just kind of chincing out at the end, you know, and choking on
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So,
Okay, it was just a dream.
or just yeah, or like, oh no, she's gonna assimilate Seven because she's helping her.
They set up pieces, right? So we have the piece of Zoom. There's because he's now at a loss. He's like completely like, I'm going this direction. I have no, like, desire to go to my old life. I'm
Yeah.
taking this role.
Well,
And you have
he's gonna be a
Q,
big
who's going
part.
to die unless he gets his abilities back. You have Guinan, who's actually trying to help him somehow, realizing that she's going to be some sort of counterpart with him in the future.
Well, we don't know why Q's dying. So here's I wanna riddle me this. He's dying, but he's supposed to be an immortal species. So if his species is immortal and he's dying, it must be something that's been inflicted upon him. So if there's some kind of a virus, because you know it's a
It's the eugenic. Maybe
this is
the
the
beginning of the eugenics wars.
the eugenics wars.
Actually affects Q somehow, and he's realizing this, and so he needs Soong in order to reverse geneticize the issue.
Oh man, I think. Oh no, I don't. I hope they don't do that. I don't even want to say what I was just thinking.
And I think that's what's going to lead us to the genetic wars, and maybe even Q is part of it.
No, I don't think. I don't think he'd be part
and
of it.
And Soong may be the progenitor of the Khan that we know.
Well, I was going to get to that in a second, because right now, as far as I can tell,
wasn't my idea. That was actually Ron's. So
Yeah, no, I know it's a good idea. No, it's a good take on it, but I think they're definitely going to go the approach of retconning because I mean they already did the con thing again, and I think they totally screwed it up. Like when they with
Yeah,
Into
but they
Darkness.
never said it. This is like a
I know. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. I'm not finished my thought. I was just saying, even though they did a piss poor job, they kind of they retconned the old con story, and then they had the new one because before it was Spock that died. You know what I mean? And that whole thing. Then it became Kirk died and blah blah blah, and I got brought back.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole that whole thing, right, being brought around. So like, I think they're gonna do something similar. And in this case, I think like you said before, like outside off the air. I think he's going to be responsible, like soon rather. His bloodline is going to be responsible for the atrocities, I guess you could say, of the eugenics wars. You know, which will somehow be cathartic because that will lead to future generations of the Soon family to literally create life rather than not life. Sorry, create synthetic life. In order not to bastardize, you know, genetics and what have you.
Yeah, and then another thing that was brought up was lore.
Yeah.
Remember, lore was before Data, and before lore, there was before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of these connections to Soon may be connected to the genetic element of the Soon that we're dealing with right now. I forget his first name.
I think there was I can't be sure, but do you remember the episode of Next Generation where Brent Spiner played Lore, he played Data, and he played Noonien Song?
Before.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he played
Before it was a different episode. That was the one with the mother.
B4 was the end of the shitty one, the shitty movie where B4 only came into play during that episode of that movie.
That movie, yeah.
What the fuck was that one called? I hated it. Why can't I think of it? Nemesis, yeah. Yeah. No, B4 was and they used B4 as a lure because I guess his positronic matrix was detectable from orbit of this planet, and then that's how they found him. But that was just just a plot device. We never heard anything of him because first it was just lore.
But it's still put out there. So like therefore he
is
may
now.
be used.
Yeah, he is now, and he's also not property of Paramount Pictures, so they can use him. See,
but Lore actually took over the Borg way in the future. So
yeah, I
think that there's a connection there.
But I don't think they're going to bring Lore into it because I don't know. They might.
The way that Brent Spiner was talking as the Soon person, but like controlling the Borg, like basically, you know, like the Borg aren't killing him. You know what I mean? He's like with the Queen and he's helping and everything. He's like deciding like I'm gonna do, and when he did that, that reminded me of Lore.
Yeah. I don't know.
So maybe Lore is actually a copy of him, not Soon.
Well, okay. Oh, back to my point I was making there is that Dr. Noonien Song, I'm pretty certain that there's a line in that episode in Star Trek Next Generation where he goes and says that the legacy of his family was known throughout the eugenic wars. I'm almost certain of it that there was a line in there,
which would really make sense on this level if they're actually smart enough to put that together.
I don't know if they're smart enough. I mean, they're smart enough to get certain bits of nostalgia out, and then they write them like maniacs. Like it's like. It's like not knowing, you know, it's like not seeing the forest for the trees in a way. It's like, oh yeah, here's a bear trap. It makes a nice hat. Like what the fuck, you know? But anyway, yeah, my prediction for episode 10, I'm with you on this one, brother. I think there's going to be a cliffhanger. I think they're going to drag this out, and maybe we will see Locutus. I'll be mad if we don't now. Honestly.
I know, right? They really set it up, so it's like if you don't, it's like, why'd they do that?
Yeah, there's a lot. The last 9 episodes, there's been so many lost opportunities to do some really good Star Trek with like just using some of the ideas they have and trying to make a workable plot line out of it. Like there was some really good lost opportunities. I personally believe. And whatever happened to the FBI guy? Because he was.
I was wondering that too. I thought he was going to be part of the next
I,
like part
I
of it,
I thought
and he was just like not even in it at all.
I was expecting him to show up with the feds to fight the Borg at the fucking at the vineyard.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, a lot of things would have been cool. It would have been cool if if Picard got captured and turned into Locutus. Then that would have been cool. Like going into episode 10, that would have been dope. That would have been sick. Um, but all I can
It's
say.
like I said that last time. It felt like a filler, like an in between to get from here to there. They had to like
I actually
give us all this
believe.
little information.
I believe
But
they
not-
tried to make it penultimate. They tried to make this. They had a major climax. This was like the battle. That battle with the Borg was like a wet fart. Like it was like just, it didn't work. And now it's a mess. Now you got to clean it up. You know, it was really bad. But yeah, that's what I'm comparing episode 9 to. Yeah, man. It came down, coming down from a high from episode 8 because like I said, some of those speeches were epic, and I never did say this on the air, and that was the fact that having lines that really would have meant something like that would have made me like tear up if I heard those words that came out of young guy in his mouth. If I saw Whoopi Goldberg and she was delivering those lines, that might have welled me up. You know what I mean? Like that was some poignant shit that she dropped, and I was just sad that it wasn't coming from Whoopi Goldberg herself. I mean that would have been a real treat. But I digress. I don't know, man. I hope they can clean up that wet fart because 10 is just one episode, and these aren't even like hour-long episodes. They're like 46
Well,
minutes.
it's like let's just sum it up. There's not that many things that occurred in this episode to get from A to B.
No, it was just a lot of wrapping things up. Like really, the only thing that actually occurred was a bunch of people ran around shooting at each other, and someone took a ship.
7 of 9 got turned into 7 of 9.
Yeah.
They stole the ship. I mean, stole it. They tricked into taking the ship, whatever.
And Elnor got to kill people again.
Elnor came back, like I predicted, although I didn't know it was going to be a hologram.
Yeah.
But
that was a twist. That was twisty, because we were thinking that maybe the holograms would. We knew the holograms would come in useful because remember we were thinking something about Rios maybe though. We thought maybe Rios might reactivate some of his holograms or something.
Right.
But,
yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
So we were close, but we weren't on it.
No. But we were pretty bang on about everything else. Like, I mean, the whole theme thing, like that definitely was what they were shooting for. The whole love lost, love gained kind of, parable or dichotomy. Like that whole thing was definitely what they were shooting for. And it just, that whole episode was swimming in that. Like, it was, yeah. But, well.
Yeah, and because I was right about the shard.
Oh yeah, right. Yep. And the sunroom.
The shard was from the glass from the thing because he throws it at the end and then you see him break it, and so that and it's all because I was right that the mother died and the reason why.
Yeah.
So I mean not to pat myself on the back, but I was correct about those things.
You called that one. You totally called it. And killed herself.
I didn't know she killed herself.
Yeah.
I didn't call that.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a Romulan thing or something like that, like an explosion. That's what I thought in my mind.
The worst things happen to the Picard family. It's like because like in the first Star Trek Next Generation movie in Generations, his brother and his nephew die when the house burns down.
Yeah.
At the vineyard, and then like. All these morbid things happen, but we never learned about his mom at all. And I think they covered that up cleverly in dialogue in this episode because he's
Because he
like,
didn't really know his mom.
well, yeah, he's like, well, maybe this is why I hid it from myself. It's like, yeah, you hid it from the rest of us too, motherfucker. It's like, but hey,
Exactly.
it is what it is. Um, I'm invested this far. Might as well
But
go.
that's a psychological trauma. So they're really showing psychological elements right there, like the idea of you hiding something from yourself and then being forced to replay it later on, not remembering that it even happened.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a form of what do you call it, trauma as a child, like, you know, where you like you can't face the reality of the situation, so you
yeah,
shelf yourself.
yeah. Oh, and I was right about
And
the other thing too. Is that what's her nuts? The Romulan chick from the future that is his help. Uh, yeah, she totally saw more stuff inside of Picard's head. Like she was like, "Oh yeah, there's more in
exactly,
there," you know.
and she
So
knows him more now.
yeah, so that's why they're gonna have something in. I don't know. They're gonna have a future thing. Are they gonna do that? I don't know.
I still think you're right. I think it's the same woman.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the same woman. It's definitely the same woman. She came and found him, I think, because they're gonna do the causality. They're gonna do the linear causality thing. So like, she's already aware of who he is
But it's
because
not going to
of this.
happen until the realities converge.
Well, reality is in the process of converging now because I think the experiences that she's gotten right now is the experiences
I
that she
mean,
had in her head.
remerge. Well, come back together is what I mean, not
Yeah. Well,
separate.
when it comes back together, then it's Picard's turn to get caught up, and he's getting caught up right now. She was already aware
Exactly.
because for her, from her perception, this has already
It
happened.
already happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means then that they have a sealed container as their time map, I guess, if you want to use a term, because if they mapped it out, right, they got to go back to that point, or they're having a completely different future, like
Yeah, or they're changing futures,
like Back to the Future.
Back to Future 2,
Yeah. So they might, and like it's
when they
interesting
alter
too.
reality and then it creates a new reality.
I wonder if they called up that writer and said, "Hey, we're doing a timey wimey episode. You want in on this?" I wonder if they,
Zemeckis?
yeah. I wonder if
They asked Zemeckis, "Hey, Zemeckis, give me some time
he's like, go fuck
dilation
yourself. Don't
pointers."
call me again.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, but yeah. Have you seen how you treat writers? But anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got.
I don't know. Like that. We pretty much did it.
I'm gonna have to give that
just,
tube.
Just as the show was kind of like went flowy and then it's over. It's
Yeah.
like that's our thing.
I'm gonna have to give this two Borg tentacles down.
Or tentacles.
Yeah, well, that's what they do now.
That's hilarious.
Oh, and by the way,
endorphins.
and Raffi,
I'm gonna give it 2. I'm gonna give it 5 endorphins.
5 endorphins. I'm. You know what's funny too is that Raffi, that woman cannot act. She sucks. Like she just sucks. Like,
Oh, she tries.
she tries. She tries hard. I don't know if it was cast.
She couldn't do it without the supporting actresses around her at all. I mean,
No,
or supporting actors or
maybe
whatever.
she just was cast
If she
wrong.
had her own show or something, no, there would not be. You would not be able to follow that.
I think maybe she was just cast wrong. I think maybe she was just cast outside of her
You know
wheelhouse.
who she reminds me of is from Solo. She reminds me of the woman that kills herself in Solo
Oh,
to help the others on the bridge.
right. Yeah. She reminds me of who's that one character that can't act? Oh, Wesley Crusher. Oh God, you see him.
Oh, snap.
I watched some promotional material with him in it, and he's just way too exuberant and happy. He's like,
And you know, it's not even like when you see him as himself, he's not that way.
no,
Like like the normal
he's a bit of a jerk.
person. Yeah, he's kind of like, I would say almost douchey, but not completely. It's almost like he's leaning towards douchey,
I
but he
think
hasn't fully
he
got it
committed.
yet.
I think
It's like
he's
he's
all in.
trying to be douchey, but he hasn't figured out what it is yet.
Oh, maybe
Like
that.
completely.
I think he's committed to being douchey.
Almost,
He can't
almost
try
like
it out on anyone
a
because everyone
poser,
dislikes him.
like a poser, but a poser for being a douche.
He's a douche poser. He's a poser douche.
Poser. Like how he is in real life. I mean, not his acting abilities.
Yeah. Well, he does a self-deprecating thing because he was on
He's
that
better
stupid
actor
show.
than I am. I've seen him. like go from one person to another. It's better than I am.
He has
for sure.
done good acting. Stand by Me is a good movie, and he was good in that.
He was pretty good playing himself in what do you call it? Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I was just saying that he was on that show, and he does this self-deprecating kind of, shut up, Wesley. He does all the he plays into that, but I don't know how true it is.
But he's playing himself, so it's like
he's
but
playing.
He's not really. But he's not being himself. He's playing himself as if he was that person.
He's
but he's
playing
not really
himself as he was written. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but I guess
But
that's
when
all
you see him at the cons, he's like not that way.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out where this all goes. It would be interesting to have Wesley Crusher back in season 3. I wonder if they'll do it.
That would be crazy.
That would be funny.
I bet you he'd do it on a whim. It just he's waiting for the call.
I would just want to hear the line.
Like,
Shut up, Wesley.
He literally has like a show after the show. Do you ever watch that?
No.
I don't either.
Looks like somebody's here.
And yet he's sitting there talking to the actual people and stuff. It's like.
Oh, when he's talking to the people, like that's when he looks like he just did a bunch of crack. He's like, like, have you seen season 2 of Picard? Like he just goes like, he's just so exuberant. It's like, whoa, slow down. You're going about 40 miles in a 20-mile zone there, buddy. Like,
oh snap. That's too much.
But hey, yeah, next week we'll be here before you know it, and the rant will.
He's probably
continue.
got some sort of handler that goes, "You need to be happier."
Here's some crack. Anyway, on that note. Shut up, Wesley.
This has been Off the Rails.
That's
with your
right.
host, Robert J. Morris, and co-host,
this guy,
Altria Database, a.k.a. George McFly.
Yeah, you know what? It is fitting. The whole Back to the Future trope that's being played out in this show.
Exactly.
But,
it works.
It's funny. But yeah, we'll be back with some more next week, and we got some new stuff coming your way real soon. As soon as we get around to making it. But yeah, it's happening. And I guess that's all we got. And we'll see you next week, guys.
That's the end of that.
Stay safe.